but ran out of fuel and crashed on the way back home. And then when I tried to do it a second time, I fiddled around trying to accomplish too much and smashed into the moon basically at full speed. So this time, we're going to try to keep it simple. I'm going to use the same vehicle I did last time. The easier moon. I'm going to change its name to spell moon correctly. Valentine is dead. Luckily, Jebediah had respawned by this time. Now you can see because he respawned, he lost all his experience points, but we're gonna try to do this. This time I'm going to completely ignore the rescue missions. Get to those in a little bit. We're gonna go up, we're gonna land this thing, we're gonna come home, we're gonna declare success. So, thanks for everyone who's still watching. Again, I'm sorry about the last stream. It was a complete and utter disaster. But at least now... Oh, I noticed something. At least now, you get a sense of what spectacular failure looks like. So, easier moon's ready to go. We know that this rocket is at least serviceable. SAS on, throttle full. Away we go. So last time I did this, you saw the rocket took a bit of a spin because I tried to rush the gravity turn, keeping it much smoother this time, I hope, which should give us better results. Solids are just about to burn out here. There we go. Oh god, it's gonna happen again. Well, this is probably a fundamental problem with this rocket, but it's alright. Hey, it's not super efficient, but it isn't a disaster either. This will be the last time I use you, easier moon. So up we go. You've seen me do this several times. This is hopefully going to be no different. Take the surface mode off of this until we get to the moon. Lots of Delta V left. Jebediah is hanging on for the ride. And here we go. Feeling good about this one. Those last moon missions were just practices. Sure, a lot of people died. A lot of money was wasted. A lot of explosions were witnessed by all, but got a good feeling about this one. It's going to be the time we make it. Do what I've done before. I'm going to ride this up to 80,000. I should have put solar panels on the easier moon, but I did not. Hopefully I will not pay a terrible price for that mistake. If I do, I will delete this video and pretend that this attempt never happened. Alright, apoapsis is almost at 80. Everything looking pretty good. Good enough. 80 is arbitrary, by the way, in case anyone was curious. It's really a completely arbitrary decision to use 80. I like it because it gets you far enough out of the atmosphere without wasting too much fuel. Um, but it is arbitrary, completely arbitrary. Um, Start my burn. I like burning in this view, it's prettier. But the orbital view is a lot more useful. But thanks, Kerbal Engineer, I can kind of see what's happening here. Stage has got lots of delta V left, not worried about not making it to the moon. Oh, I can take a pressure scan. It's handy. Won't do more than one because I want to save one for the moon. Running a little low here. Back up. Alright, periapsis is above the atmosphere. Delete that maneuver node. Where's the moon? So we're probably going to need to burn about there. Maybe too far. It's going to bring us into the periapsis of 50. That's going to crash us into the moon. 10. Perfect. Alright, so that's going to be a 1-minute burn, 800 delta V. It's going to leave me with a little under 700 to play with. When we get there, burn is in 6 minutes, going to take 1, so I want to have about 30 seconds left when I start it. There we go. Alright, so the fuel situation looks good. Battery situation should be fine. Alright, so that's got us on the collision course. It's fine. I'm going to go ahead and warp to the SOI margin. Alright, we're in the moon sphere of influence. Now, apoapsis of negative. Generally not the greatest way to come in. So I'm going to fix that. Oh, Alright, so I'm going to add a slowdown maneuver here. Now, I could do that. I could land like that, but... Well, you know what? I'm going to land like that. 512. Yeah, I might as well use everything in the tank. Just basically murder off my horizontal velocity. So, spin ourselves around here. Burns in an hour. I'm going to burn for 26 seconds, so let's warp to the maneuver node. So right now I'm blasting past the moon, but I want to stop. All right, so we're going to hit the moon. I basically want to warp until I get closer and I get a sense of what things are going to look like. So I'm going to crash into the East Crater in 50 minutes, and I'm going to crash into it going pretty fast. So I'm going to crash into it going at an absurd speed, actually. And I'm going to want to flip over and make sure that doesn't happen. So I'm going to go find my retrograde marker. And right now I'm doing 400 meters a second, and that's just not acceptable. So that stage is done. We'll light the next stage. That stage is going to crash into the moon, which is great because it means we're not going to dip any debris. Now I'm going to accelerate as I fall, but Okay, so I can decelerate at about 1,000 meters a minute. 1,000 meters per second per minute. So I know that to kill off my vertical speed is right now going to take me about 20 seconds. So I'm going to get to within a minute. Here. You can see my altitude is still quite high. 2,700. $27,000, sorry, 23,000. So the problem with slowing down too early is that if you do it, you're just going to end up speeding up and then having to slow down again. And you see I'm on this fairly vertical trajectory. And unlike the previous episode where I did land successfully before taking off and crashing, this time I'm not using a nice sloping trajectory to come in. So you can see I have very low horizontal velocity, but very high vertical velocity. And so I'm going to want to start burning this off. Now that I'm under 10,000. I don't want to be going more than 100 meters a second. And so I'm just going to gradually decelerate. I'm going to follow the retrograde marker. Now you're going to see what happens when you run out of battery. Running out of battery is not the end of the world. It just means that you can't use your reaction wheels to turn. You can still deploy your parachutes and you can still fire your engines. And you can use your engine's thrust vectoring to move you around. So everything's going to be alright. Despite that fact. But I should have put solar panels on this. Trying to make sure that I put together a decent mission for the stream, but I'm forgetting stuff that's gonna get my astronauts killed. Okay, so within 2,000, my horizontal speed is next to nothing. My vertical speed, I'm gonna want to start killing a little more aggressively. Again, I like to land at about 10. I'm just going to use my engines. There, a little bit of thrust here. Plant myself down on the moon. Oh no. Oh, I've tipped over. Well, I'm not too worried. This is all workable. I'm going to retract the landing struts, though, and roll over so I can get the door open. Okay. So, let's gather ourselves some science. Atmospheric pressure scan. Crew report. Temperature scan. Now, I didn't bring a scientist, so I can't reset anything. But I can go and take the data. EVA report. EVA report. Recorded my observations of the situation. Climb down. Collect the data. Because just in case the unfortunate happens and this data gets blown up during re-entry, I would very much like it to make it. Take data. Take the data. Take the data. Board. Alright, everything is in there. Now, I would like very much for this to work. So I'm going to take off. Oh, come on. Alright, well, another failure. This is just spectacular. So, I have an astronaut trapped on the surface of the moon. Truckload of science data on it. Well, guess what? We have ourselves a rescue mission now. We have ourselves a rescue mission. So back to the Space Center we go. We're gonna go save some people. Let's look at our astronaut complex, see who we've got. Valentine is back. So now we gotta build something. We gotta build something to rescue some people. Now, we knew that the moon sploder was not viable. But there were parts of it that we need. So, could this get down and up again? I would say probably not. So we're going to replace these tanks for bigger tanks. Okay. So then, what are we going to do here? No, I don't really have the engines for that. So, we're going to utilize asparagus staging again. Now, I don't think that our engines have enough thrust for that to be workable. Oh, they do. Amazing. Okay. All right. So this is going to be our core, and we're going to asparagus stage around this thing like you wouldn't believe. Coupler is relevant because we're not going to use it. Or actually, I think we are. I think we are going to use this. And how we're going to do that is we're going to put one of these band adapters. I'm going to take one of these and plug it in there. Okay. So that's great. Tons of delta V in that rocket. Now, put some struts to there, and then some fuel hoses. Okay. So that's 2877. That doesn't even get us into orbit yet. But that's okay, because we can always do that. But these ones, it's fine, except your fuel duct needs to actually go there. And we need to move these into another one. So first this stage is going to go, then this stage is going to go, and so on. No, that's not right. They're exactly the same. That's more correct, actually. Provided that what we really want is that. Okay, so we fire all the engines, and then this will blow off everything at once. So we go from 6 engines to 3. That gives us 3,200. I mean, do I want to do this or do I want to just wrap it around the core? You know what? All this be damned. A ton of struts here that I don't need. And in fact, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to put 2 of these. Each of which is like this. And has a fuel tank going in. I do not understand that. Okay. So that was an interesting weird thing. That 3-way symmetry, I do not understand why I was doing that. But here's our core. We're going to keep expanding this. These ones, instead of going fuel duct, I'm gonna go to these guys. Right. Then we want that. Fuel tank. Engine. Those go there, that goes there. Then that, then that, then that. Then these two, then that, then parachutes. Okay. Okay, so we're going to keep asparagus staging this out because we're not there yet. And an engine. Just staging. This is going to be a little repetitive, but it's going to be a very cool rocket when we're done. goes about there. All the engines, of course, fire together. Strut some more things. Keep everything nice and stable. Another decoupler. Maybe about there. You'll see with every subsequent stage, the thrust to weight will get higher and higher and higher. Right now we're at about 3,000. We're going to want even more than that. Though at some point you kind of got to say, well, I'll just slap a ton of solids on the bottom and see what happens. We may very well be at that point now. Okay, similar to the moon explosion, I make no guarantees that I'm not going to screw this up and end up having to revert. As I said, forgot some. I feel like we're gonna need one more tower. Now, I also feel like we're gonna need wings. Now, the scientist in me knows this is crazy. Knows that this rocket design is just silliness. Straight silliness. But, hell, it's video games, right? Alright, so if we look at our delta V, it says 4,100, 4,800, not including the atmospheric effects. Should have enough to get out of Kerbal's atmosphere, make it to the moon. We'll have this big bruiser with all this fuel all the way there. It will be able to land, pick up our unfortunate colleague, and that'll be that. Let's double check the staging. So that's the outermost, and that one, and that one, and that one, that one, That one, then that one. All these engines are going to fire at once. All the solids are going to fire at once. Moon Sploder Mark II. Valentine is going to fly it. I might as well bring Bob along. Does that make any sense at all? Why not? Oh, we have a problem here. No, we don't. No, we don't. Sorry. All right. So everything's asparagus staged. After a big push on the solid rocket boosters. Let's see if there's any problem. Empty crew cabin, fine. Missing ladder, fine. Hatch obstructed, fine. Electric charge generated but not used, fine. Electric charge generated but storage lacking. Unused monopropellant resource. So I would like to pick up those antennas and put them on. Monopropellant we're not using. Electric charge generated but storage lacking. Well, you know what? I don't really need all that much. Moon Sploder Mark II. Moon Sploder Mark II. Let's do this. Throttle up. SAS on. Alright, Bob and Valentina. Let's go save Jebediah. Oh, that's a bad sign. Right off the get-go. Not enough struts. Alright. Not nearly enough struts on the engines. By which I mean no struts on the engines. That's a recipe for disaster. Should have been using symmetry, but struts, things don't have to be perfect. Just need to keep everyone alive. Okay, same deal up here. Do some strutting. Because if we don't, basically kiss your spaceship goodbye. The way that wobbled off the launch pad was a sight to see, though, I gotta say. Alright, Moon Sploder Mark II. Alright, full throttle. There we go. Much better this time. Oh, still very troublesome. Something in the thrust is not balanced. Doing everything I can to hold this in control, but it's not going to happen. going fast. There go the solids. Let's see if I can bring it back. Asparagus staging worked a treat, but that crazy trajectory off the launch pad, I don't know that it's going to mean very much. But let's see what happens. Oh no. Say this thing is hard to fly is a drastic understatement. That was unfortunate. Oh, and I've taken off one. Alright. Okay. So something went terribly wrong with the solid rocket boosters. Terribly, terribly wrong. My brilliant plan of slap a bunch of solids to it does not seem so brilliant anymore. Ah, there was the problem, right there. Alright, well. That is fixable. That is fixable. Copy the strut connector. No, no, don't do that. Now, aerodynamics. Okay, that was silly. Just wanted to copy the wing. Okay. Now let's hope that misplaced SRB was our problem, that it just didn't fire, giving us unbalanced thrust. Moose Floater Mark II. Full throttle. Yes, that was the problem. That was our problem. Things are going much better this time. Much, much better. Just about done with the solids. There they go. Light the liquid engines. Bit of an unbalanced load here. Don't need much more before I'll be in space. Alright. So, our apoapsis is well into space. That was a bit of a crazy launch. Something broke off that shouldn't have. We have 7 engines, but for some reason they have vastly different quantities of fuel in them. Full, not full at all. Full, sort of full. So, crazy crap is going to happen here, but I want to get some sense of the delta V required. $1,600 delta V. You kind of need to be burning already. Alright. So we've recovered from that. I think we're going to be able to circularize now without too much trouble. Or with, you know, a little bit of trouble, but why not? Oh, the spin, the spin. All right, and terrible. Top to bottom, terrible. We're in orbit. My rocket design sucks. It really does. Oh well. Let's just get our periapsis up. 6758. Yeah, my apoapsis is nuts. Okay. Node gone. I think I'm lucky because I think that so where's that going to put it? Node in 56 minutes. Burn is not going to be 11 minutes at all. Okay. All right. The burn's going to be 1 minute in 55 minutes. Warp to next maneuver. All right, so at about 43 seconds-ish. Yeah, we're in the atmosphere. It's not good, but it's not going to be the end of the world, I don't think. Unless, of course, we blow up. Which we did. We blew up. Valentina's gonna die. Well, let's see if we can have Valentina make it back to the Earth. Everything's going wrong today. Everything. This is going to take a long time to happen. Well, I'm going to revert, because you could watch Valentina die, or we could try to do something productive here. So we know this design doesn't work. Which is unfortunate, because it took me a heck of a long time to build. That is how you do some hardcore asparagus staging, though. Okay, so that's got 27,771 delta V. Let's try a more traditional. Type craft, shall we? We won't try to get too fancy about it. We'll asparagus stage everything like so. We'll strut it like so. We'll pin the solids to the side. Because why the heck not? And we have to light them at the same time, because otherwise the thrust to weight ratio will be, well, that doesn't make any sense at all. So it'll be 1,000 on the solids, another 1,400 on the liquids. Then another, 1,000 on the solids, 423 more on the liquids, another 2,600. What if instead of doing this, we just said, you know what? This is the way these things go. That's going to get us into orbit with a ton of fuel. Just a ton of it. I'm going to take these off the outside. I'm going to Put some additional strutting. Alright, so 713 and 1400. Alright. Moonsploder Mark II. 4 reels this time. Let's do this. SAS on, full throttle. 3, 2, 1, blast. Well, this launch has been less of an abject disaster than the previous one. I like that. Do want to get more tilted over, but blasting out of the atmosphere quite successfully this time, actually. Oh, that middle stage. Well, whatever. It's inefficient. Goodbye. That middle stage is going to run out of fuel, but getting it out of there could be a little dicey. Alright, we're at 80. Got a little wobble, but probably could have used some struts around the middle, but you know what? It's probably going to be fine. Oh, it's getting worse. Why is it getting worse? What if I turn SAS off? Come on, get out of the atmosphere. Oh, this is wobbling a lot. Do not like what I'm seeing. Do not like it. Yeah, well, I could see that coming. You know what? I think it's not going to be our day. I think it's just not going to be our day. I think we're just going to have to say so long. Let's splash this down. And then I think we're going to call it a stream for now. And I'm going to come back to this with a fresh head either later today or tomorrow. Might as well get some science. Get ourselves pointed retrograde. those off. Another pressure scan. Why not? Temperature scan. Great. At least I get some science out of it. Open this up, find out when it's going to be safe to pop the chutes. Pop the chutes, time accelerate to the ground. And that's going to be it. So thanks for watching, everyone. I'm sorry that today has been one disaster after another, but at least you've gotten to see the worst of my play so that you can put the, or rather have an appreciation of how lucky I got up to this point. But I hope you've had fun. I sure have. This is the way this game goes some days. But it's great. You should pick it up. I highly recommend KSP to anyone who's interested in. So I'm going to get more science here, which is great. EVA report. Crew report. So it wasn't all for naught. The design of that rocket was good. It needed a few more struts. I think that's probably where we'll start next time. I got 54 science. I can tell you right now that what I'm going to pick up is heavy rocketry, because that's going to give me some... Actually, that's going to give me some better parts, which is going to let me build a much more efficient rocket for the purpose of this. So I'm going to research that. Next time when we come back, I'm going to build a bigger rocket. I'm going to go rescue Jebediah. We're going to make it home from the moon this time with all that science intact. Unlock a bunch more of the tech tree. Maybe we'll try for Minmus. We'll see what contracts we get us. So again, thanks for watching. I haven't talked a lot about this, but the reason that I do this is in hopes that people who enjoy the content will make a donation to the National Breast Cancer Foundation. My wife was diagnosed with breast cancer about 3.5 months ago. She's had treatment. She's expected to be fine, but a lot of people are not that lucky. And I'm hoping that we can raise a little bit of money and maybe give us a better chance to wipe this disease out once and for all. So thanks everyone for watching, and I'll be back. See you later.